Hello there. Hi.
Hello.
How are ya?
Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me okay. Amazing. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been so fun to get to see you so much over the last couple of weeks. I'm
I
really loving it.
I know. I appreciate having this twice a week, actually. It's like keeps it all very relevant and fast
Um,
moving. Yeah.
good, good. Amazing. How's your day been so far?
It's been pretty good. Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good. How's the weather there right now?
It's finally not raining today, which is nice. It's been really rainy lately.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Is that pretty normal for this time of year?
It just depends. Yeah. Yeah. But it's nice to have a little dry weather today.
Definitely. How are you feeling it after call three? I know there was a lot in that.
Yeah, so I haven't listened to the end of it yet when I had to hop off. But I felt like it was really helpful and definitely like I hadn't thought about teasing things out in such like a lengthy manner and I hadn't thought of the benefit of that. So it was helpful to see your input. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Okay, amazing. Do you have an official like launch date? Because you're launching your one-to-one coaching, right? It's
I
already out technically.
Well, I kind of like soft launched it before I started this program, and then I'm kind of like tweaking it as I go and as I learn
Perfect.
things.
Amazing.
So it's not going to follow exactly,
That's great. Yeah.
but so I did turn like the soft launch into a pre-sale um
Awesome.
type
Okay.
situation, um, and I've been trying to find little places to reach out to people more specifically, like how we talked about, which is really hard for me.
No, it's hard for everyone.
But it's like, yeah, let's just say my inbox is not flooded. But
Oh, that's okay. Mine's
I
not
am
either. I'm
I'm
like,
like,
oh, it's okay.
but I do feel more confident with everything that I get from this program to then like adapt and make it um
Oh, yeah,
like to call it a
absolutely.
pre-sale and to label it this and to know how to talk about it. And that's all been really helpful. Yeah.
Good, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah, today is going to be a lot too. So again, I just want to like remind you and everybody, anybody catching the replay that it's very much like the whole buffet and you get to pick what you want. There's going to be a lot in this, and this is going to definitely be intended to like come back and listen to it again. Find like the parts that you're working on, go in there. I've got so many like examples, templates, like sentence starters, like all the things are going to be in here for you today. So this is like going to be really, really meaty. So
Awesome.
again, yeah, just what feels good for you and what works for you. And I love that you said like you're adapting it
Yeah.
to like work for you. And that's exactly what it's all about. And none of this has to be perfect or,
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
T.
No, I mean, it probably would have been easier had I not sort of already, but I was having trouble sitting still and kept seeing everyone be like, you just have to go for it. You just have to go for it. So now I'm
That's,
like
yeah. Oh
backtracking a
my gosh.
little, but it's
Of
working.
course. And I would never ever like I would say do what you did too versus doing nothing, like not
Yeah.
moving. Like
Yeah.
just go get messy, do the thing. And again, like now you have all of this information and this knowledge so you can take it with you into new offers. You can relaunch the possibilities are
Yeah.
really here. So we're just going to keep adding on. So what
Yeah.
to expect today, like I said, we're really going to dive into the launch strategy suite. So this is like the meat and potatoes of launching. It's the actual process that we go through once we're in launch. Yes, not yesterday. The last call we talked about leading up to the launch, all of those, strategic things that we can do to get people ready, to get them thinking about what is happening, to like peak excitement, to bring the warmest people up and start to have those conversations with them. So today we're going to go nitty gritty. And again, I'm just going to say this again. I know I said this the last time too, but if this takes longer than I anticipate, or if you need to leave at any point, or anybody needs to leave, or turn your camera, like whatever you need to do, do what you need to do. I am intentionally not going to rush myself. So if I get to a point where I'm like, okay, we're not done, I'm just going to add more onto this program in that way. So we're not rushing. And I never want to feel like I'm like shorting anybody. So I'm just going to really try to take my time and explain all of this. And again, the intention is that you can come back and you can re-listen to it. You can dig things up. You're going to hear things the more you listen to it that you didn't hear the first time. So, and I'm very much an advocate of like, just like listening in, and not trying to like implement everything right now or write everything down or take everything. It's just like, let your brain kind of soak it in for this first round, and then you can come back and re-listen. And I'm going to send you off with all of the slides. The slides are really content heavy today. And of course the doc as well. So we'll be all good to go. So here we go. So let's talk first about, I think we know, like, we know what a launch is, right? It's basically a time-bound invitation into your offer. That's all it is, right? And I think a lot of people, a lot of the women that I work with, both my private clients, my mastermind clients, when they're first getting ready to launch something or launch something new with this process, they think that it feels, or it has to feel, and I felt this too, like very chaotic, very like mysterious, or something that only like bigger coaches do, or oh my gosh, like I don't have a big audience, I can't. It's none of that. It is, all it is to invite people into your offer and bring awareness to it. So the goal of a launch is not like, it's not to sell anything. It's not to like, it's simply to just build awareness. So if you can actually do just this little like mindset tip, if we are able to take the pressure off of launching, like I'm not launching to sell anything, I'm really launching to just build awareness, build belief, and invite them to take an action. That's a really big shift, because if we're walking into it like being like, I need to sell, like I'm launching so I can sell things, it kind of takes away the fun. It takes away the energy. It takes away like just the fun part of it. And you're putting a lot of pressure on both yourself and also on your audience, right? Like they can feel that pressure when you're like, I gotta sell this, I gotta sell this. And that's not a good feeling. That's not a good energy. And it's not really a launch. It should not, and this was a misconception for me too, it should not just be one post or one email or one story. It is a strategic series of touch points. Okay, so constantly touching in and giving them opportunities, giving them information, giving them reminders, giving them like what the possibility is and what they could look like when they come into this offer. So the launch time, like when we say, okay, it's launch time, it's go time, the three really big, like biggest things are to build awareness around the offer and the transformation, to build belief that so that they can see themselves in this offer and in this transformation. And again, to really just invite them to take an action, invite them into this momentum that you've got going. And we take all of the pressure off. We talked about that on day one. We talked about that in the Zero Cling Sales Challenge. So it's really just to bring attention, build belief. And in order to do this, we have to understand a little bit more about how people buy things. And this was something when I first started launching, I completely like glossed over. I had no idea that this even existed. And when I started to learn more about how people buy, it kind of made a lot more sense about why my strategy of just throwing up a couple stories of like, you get 5 calls, like come sign up, why that wasn't actually working. So there are 3 buyer types that we're going to focus on today. And I'm going to give you a little like synopsis of each one of the buyer types, just so you kind of can be aware. And we're going to speak to all of these buyer types throughout the process of the launch, using different types of content and bringing attention in different ways to the offer. And that's again going to keep our launch fresh for us. It's going to keep our audience engaged, and it's going to be like, it's just going to be great. So the first buyer type is the polarized buyer. So this person likes to be called out on the things that they're doing that are kind of in the way. So they've already technically chosen like a side, right? They don't need convincing that coaching works, or that they need this. They already know they need a solution to this problem, and they're ready to move, and they like to be called out essentially, and like in a loving way, of course. And they make decisions based on when they resonate with something, not just by like doing all the research. So like it's the energetic feeling that they're feeling. And that's something that we can convey and we can bring them into through our content and through how we talk about the offer throughout the launch, right? And they do not like lukewarm marketing thing. Like you think about like casting the net really wide or like, oh, this is for everyone and I can help everybody. This is very like not good for this type of buyer. They want to know that like that they're going to get the solution to the problem. They want to know that you can help them solve it and they're in basically. They're not shopping around for like the cheapest option. They're really just looking for someone who gets them. And if you think about this, like you've probably landed on people before where you're like, oh my gosh, this is my person. Like she gets me, she sees me. The polarized buyer like wants to be seen and wants to see themselves, their future self reflected in this offer and how it's going to impact them, right? And they like this is where when we talk to the polarized buyer, we speak directly to their values and to how they identify. Okay. So again, lukewarm marketing doesn't work for this buyer type. Like if we're trying to appeal to everybody, we basically lose them. And they're really activated. This type of buyer is activated by really bold opinions. Like when you think about the word polarizing, it's like there's a line and you got to pick which side you're on. Like they like knowing, like they already know what side they're on and they want somebody that's on that side too. It's almost to me like when you meet someone for the first time and you like are kind of feeling it out and you like say something to them and they could either be like, oh my gosh, yes, you are my person, let's go to happy hour, or they could be like look at you with that weird like side eye like I don't know, like okay, so not my person. They're like they're the person that's going to be like yes, let's go to happy hour. Okay, and they're activated like I said by bold opinions. They like decisive messaging. So there's no like wishy-washy here, right? They want somebody who takes a stand, even if it's a stand that not many people agree with, or if it's like an opinion or something that not many people talk about or say, they appreciate that. Okay. And you'll probably see yourself in all of these buyer types at some point. I know there are times when I am the polarized buyer and I will literally like land on something that is totally like speaking directly to me. Like I resonate with it so deeply that I'm like, oh, I gotta learn more. Like what's happening here? I want to know more. And I'm basically in because of that process. So the second type of buyer is the emotional buyer, and they want to feel connection. Okay. So they are driven by desire, not just data. So it's not about like, it doesn't sometimes often make sense, but if they feel it, they'll buy because your offer feels like it's the thing that's going to help them discover that version of themselves that they're really, really craving. Not just because it has like the longest list of features. And this is why I always say for this particular type of buyer, like we lead with the transformation. We lead with the stories that go with that transformation. We lead with where we were before we went through this, or where our clients were before they came through this with us. And we show them what it's like to be in our world. Like it's that emotional connection and resonance there. And so they need to see themselves in this story or in the offer, right? They really want to feel seen. So when you're able to share like your truth or your transformation or the behind the scenes moments that not many people see, they connect with that. And that connection is essentially what allows this type of buyer to like move forward and click purchase. Okay. And this is a person that like they don't need a lot of time, but if something like clicks, they're in. Like if they feel something, logic like maybe might keep them on the fence, but like if your energy and your vibe or the way you describe it, like that's what's going to tip them into action and be like, yes, this is, I want this, I need to be in this. And then the last buyer type here is the analytical buyer. So this is the person when you're on a sales call that like asks all the questions about like how things work and when are the calls and what do the calls look like and what if I miss a call and like all the things. So they want to know how things work. They want to see like the full entire like bird's eye view framework before investing or committing to something. So they're looking for the method or the structure or in the timeline. And of course, we're looking at clear outcomes here always. That's with any buyer type. So vague, like ish promises are not going to cut it here. And that's too why when I work with my clients inside the mastermind and even with my private clients, it's like we don't use vague words like, what would be a vague, like find clarity. That's really vague. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like we get really, really specific. And that analytical buyer loves the specificity because they know it's for them. So they need a little bit of time and a little bit of logic to say yes to something. And so that's why you'll see in just a bit that we really tend to speak to this buyer towards the end of the launch process because they need a little more time. They need a couple more touch points. They need to see things a little bit more in order to say yes. And really like the emotional hype doesn't like really like that's not what's going to tip them over the edge. It's really like the proof of results, the testimonials, the step-by-step breakdown, basically like the playbook of what they're buying. That's what allows this buyer to say yes. So those are the three main buyer types. And like I said, you've probably seen yourself or been these types of buyer at different times. Maybe one resonates more with you than the other. I know for me, I've seen myself as all of these at some point, but I really resonate the most with like being a polarized and emotional buyer. That's really if I like someone and I like their energy and I'm like, yes, I want that perfect. And I'm pretty much in. So yeah, any questions about any of these buyer types so far? Does it make sense? Okay. Perfect. And another thing with the analytical buyer too is we can address a lot of these things in our content and kind of like preload or not preload, but pre-handle objections. Because again, if you think about if you've been on a sales call before or somebody that's like, interested in your coaching and you think about all the questions that they ask, of course, we're writing down all of those questions so we can address them in our content. So then when it gets to the point that they either hop on a call or they're ready to press buy, those objections don't even exist anymore. Okay. So they don't, and this person too, they don't doubt you. It's just that they want more details. So yeah, you can build trust by just knowing what questions they're about to ask or what questions you normally get asked and addressing those in your content. Okay, so here we go. Like, I'm gonna take a deep breath and roll the shoulders out. This is the meat here. So the launch timeline breakdown. Okay, so we're gonna give about 2-ish weeks to give people enough time to get in, to get excited, and not too much time to forget about or lose any momentum. So during your launch timeline, I would say the most important thing. So we went over this on the last call. This is kind of the progression of how it goes, of how a launch can go. Again, you have so much opportunity here to play with these things, to delete them, to combine them, to take them out, to move them around, and really just see what works best for you. But last call, we talked about the wait list and the tease. Today, we're going to dive into that cart open, official cart open date. And when we say cart open, it means cart open to just like the masses, the general public, like our whole entire audience. We're ready to rock and roll here. So this is where we're going to start today. And again, keeping in mind like what works, what feels really good to you, what feels exciting to you, and what's not going to put you like over the edge of like, oh my gosh, this is like way too much stuff for me to handle all at one time. It's like just take something, add it into your system or your process, and then once you feel like you have a handle on that, then add something else in. And I'm not expecting, and nobody is expecting anybody to like come out of the gate just like running with this. I think the first time that I went through this process, I definitely didn't have a wait list. I did do a tease, and I think I combined pre-sale and pre-sale together. So that was like one thing. And then I don't think I even had early bird. I think I just did regular pricing and pre-sale, and it was great. And I will say this too. If this is something new, so if you're used to launching something where like me before. My launch basically looked like me posting a couple stories, sending an email out here and there, and that was pretty much it. When I started incorporating this process, this very strategic and specific process, I definitely had to give my audience a little bit of time to kind of catch up with me, because I think like people are like, wait, what is she doing? Because I kind of was essentially training them to understand how I was going to sell things. So now I think pretty much my people know that, like, if you're on my email list, you're going to get first dibs to everything. So that's where everything is dropped first. They know that if they're on the wait list now, they're going to get a lower price point than even pre-sale. And they also know now this progression of like, okay, the first time she drops it, it's going to be the lowest price. And I even have people now that will, when I drop something at pre-sale, I've just built so much trust in both my brand and in this process by going through this. I have people that literally will message me and go, hey, I see you have this thing on pre-sale. I want it. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that I need it. I'm sure that I want it. And they'll just come right in because they know if they wait any longer, the price is just going to continue to go up. So it's really a matter of allowing a little bit of space and grace and time to kind of train your audience of like, this is how things are going to go. And this probably took, I would say, 3 or 4 rounds of me doing this before I started to like see that, like, oh, like people get it, people understand. The first time I think people were confused. They were like, what is happening? I was a little confused, to be honest, like, but we just got messy and we went for it. I muddled through it. And now I have a lot better handle on this and to understand why this is so beneficial for both you and for your audience and for your business as a whole. So, and that's really why it was born here. So we're going to talk price phases throughout the launch. And I want to say just one more thing. Your really number one job during all of these phases, every single one, is to step into this mindset of like, I'm going to, what's the word? I was going to say like obnoxiously, but not in a, you're not going to be obnoxious. I just say I'm obnoxious because I will, again, not aggressively, but I will aggressively talk about my offers without any hesitation of like, I don't want to annoy people. They've already heard this. Like, what if they don't like, I am like, those thoughts do not exist for me anymore. I'm like, my job is to make an impact. And the only way I can do that through this offer is if people know about it. And if people don't know about it, then they don't know about it unless I talk about it. So the more I can talk about it, the better. So every day through my launch process, I am talking about this offer. It is either in my content in the feed, it is in my stories, it is going out in an email, and it is constant conversations and constant reaching out to people that I really think would be a good fit. Like, that's just what I do. That's just how it is. And that's kind of a mindset, that we have to adopt here too. We're not the thoughts of like, oh, I don't want to annoy someone, or I don't want to blah, 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 like all those things. If you think about if your offer was full with like 100 people or whatever the like most people could, the capacity that you could hold, if it was already full, how would you be showing up? Like, you would not be tiptoeing. You would not be like, oh, like, I don't want to bother anybody. You'd be like, this is awesome. Look how many people are in. Let's go. And I do that even if I just have one person in it. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's one person, you guys, this is going to be amazing. And it always is. Like, it does not matter to me if there's one person in it or if there's 10 people in it or 100 people in it. I am moving as if it is full to capacity and people are like chomping at the bit to get to it. Okay. So I'm going to throw that little tidbit out there too. So here we go. Price phases throughout the launch. And again, you guys, you're going to see in these slides, there's a lot of, there's going to be a lot. You're going to have this all to take with you, to print out, to revisit all the things. Okay. So what is this? The first phase is pre-sale. So this is, again, just like we talked about yesterday, or maybe not yesterday, the last call. This is going to bring the most interested people in your offer forward. Okay. And this only lasts about 2-ish days. I put ish next to everything because you can you can make it longer, you can make it shorter. If it lands in a weird spot on the calendar, just extend it or shorten it, just do whatever feels good to you. But really the intention is that people that are getting in on the pre-sale, and again, if you think about your training your audience, like I don't want to leave pre-sale going for like weeks and weeks and weeks, because then there's really no urgency to it. And you guys know, you've probably seen things where you're like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. I really want to get in on this. It's on pre-sale or whatever. And then you go back to it the next day and you're like, dang it, I missed out on that really good pricing. It's not that I want that, but I want people to know that like pre-sale is 2 days only. It's happening now. If you want, get in on this now. Okay. And the type of content, the type of buyer that we're talking to is the polarizing buyer in this phase and also in the pre-sale phase. So we're focusing on talking about like the problems, the things that I know are getting in the way of what she's doing, the things that she's believing, and the things that she like would die if anybody knew about. Like I'm getting into her brain so deeply, and her like, what is she writing in her like Dear Diary journal every night that she would be so embarrassed to have somebody read about whatever the offer is. And at this phase, I am not telling too much about the offer. All I'm saying is the name and the end transformation. That is it. And I want to point out something here too. So this is why on day 1 and day 2, we spent so much time looking at this content block template, because you're going to see throughout these launch phases, like, so if I'm in pre-sale and I'm like, okay, I know that I need to be focusing on the polarizing buyer, the person that likes to be called out, the person that like, I want to call out what she's doing. There are exactly down here, let me just scroll down, it's easier. Oh, this is the wrong one. There are, I kind of labeled it here. So where are we at here? All right, these 2 sections right here are going to allow me to call out really quickly what she's doing, because I've already done all the like thinking and the legwork, what she's believing that's getting in the way. I know what she's believing. I've already written it down here. If I was a fly on the wall, what would I see her doing? Polarizing content is labeled right here. What is he or she doing that's getting in the way of her desired result? So I literally, to create a story or to create content during pre-sale, I'm just going to come to this document. I'm going to choose one of these that like stands out to me or that feels like easy to me to talk about today. And I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to move from there. So you can see this is why I spent so much time on this on those first couple of days, because it makes everything else so much easier. Let me go back to this. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of, let me see here. One second. All right, so I'm going to give you an example. I have a couple examples. So all of these are labeled as like story sets. So, and I'm more than happy. You guys can literally like pick these up. Obviously, they're probably going to be branded a little bit differently for your brand, and the message is going to be different, but you can absolutely take all of this and just tweak it so it fits your offer. So this is the first set of story slides. This was the first one that I did. I just said, let me guess right before, and this was for a program that I did in February called Sold Out Signature Offer. And this was basically to come in and create your first one-to-many group program or mastermind space. Like we did a whole bunch of different things in this. So this is leading up to that. And this was the first day of pre-sale. And I launched the program beginning of February. You can see I posted this on January 15th. So I'm giving myself about 2 weeks out to go through the whole process. And you can see in this, I'm not sharing, like all I'm sharing is the name of the offer and the transformation in that third slide. These first 2 slides are all I'm doing is calling them out. So I said right before a one-to-one client's contract is about to be up, you're attempting to decode their messages like you tried to decode the handwritten notes from the cute boy in middle school, trying to figure out based on the emojis they use to guess if they're going to want to re-sign to work with you again. And then I say, I know you're doing this because that's the only revenue you have coming in your business. And if they don't re-sign, it means money is stripped from your monthly income. And you're like, now what do I do? Waiting for the next client to sign. this is a problem. This is problem awareness. It's speaking directly to the person that's going, oh my God, like I'm actually doing this. Like, I don't want to do this, but like, this is my reality right now. So then I jumped into this is exactly why I knew it was time to create sold out signature offer. I put the transformation, my 3-week mini group program to create your signature offer and add recurring revenue to your business without sacrificing your time. And then the last slides in here, it just says why this is so important. And then just a really, really solid call to action here. Like I want them to know exactly what to do. And I put a little timer here, so let them know this is when pre-sale pricing ends. I should have, would have, could have next time. I should have put something in here that said something like, you're going to save X amount when you get in on pre-sale pricing. It's the lowest it'll ever be or something like that. And then I added this last slide here, which is optional because I had a bonus, right? So oh, I did say you're getting it at the lowest price. And there was a bonus here that I wanted to make sure that I brought attention to. Excuse me, I probably could have crammed everything on one slide, but it's kind of too much. So that's the first pre-sale. And you can take all of these story sequences, you guys, and you can turn them into an email. You can turn them into a conversation. You can turn them into a piece of content that lives on your feed too. It's just going to be a little bit different. And then the second example here, so this is on the next day. So this is day 2. So this is the second day of pre-sale. And again, I'm focusing on talking to the polarizing buyer. And the reason I'm talking to that buyer too is because for the other buyer types, they are going to move, but they need a little bit more time and a little bit more information. So I'm just focusing on that polarizing buyer. So I said, don't lie, you hate when clients pay in full because your only source of recurring income is from private clients' payment plans. So again, that's going to perk somebody's ears up. And I got those phrases from the content block template. I was not sitting here opening my computer going, okay, what am I going to post about today? I just went there, I pulled something, I threw it in, and I got it up. And then the third slide is when you have a sold out signature offer. This is I'm telling them like why this is important, why doing this is not good. And then we went right into this is why I created. And you'll see me repeating myself over and over and over again. And that's what I want. That's what we want. We want to repeat ourselves over and over again because we want this to start to settle. This is only day 2. So at this point, if people even saw my stuff yesterday, they're probably gonna perk up and go, what is this now? What is happening here? So again, just the offer name and the transformation. That is it. I included the bonus with the payment options and then a very, very clear call to action. I said last day, then the price goes up. Again, I probably should have put something like, if you get in now, you're going to save whatever X amount, 100, 300, whatever the price difference is between regular pricing and pre-sale. So it's like, ooh, I want to get in on this. I want to save that money. So those are 2 examples of pre-sale stories. Again, you can absolutely take those with you and turn them into emails, turn them into a podcast episode, turn them into whatever your favorite marketing space is, but you also get to take those into the conversations. And the idea with the marketing part of it, when we're talking in our stories, when we're posting on Facebook or wherever we're posting, is that you get conversations started. So you're having conversations with people. I'm sure people at this point had reached out and said something like, oh my gosh, like this is me. How did you know? Things like that. That's what we want because we want to start the conversation and allow them to understand how you can help them in this offer. Now I'm going to give you a little flow here. I call this a flow. I didn't want to say pre-sale like stories sequence because again, it doesn't have to be in your stories. I highly recommend if you are actively selling or you're in the middle of a launch, if you're launching a product or an offer, that you have that in your stories every day. So when people land on your content, whether they're finding you on Instagram or they're just scrolling and they already follow you, that there's something in there that kind of shows what you have going on right now. Because if you think about this, if you find someone new or you're like talking to somebody new as like a consumer, and then you like, what's the first thing we always do? We like are going to Google them, or we're going to go to their Instagram page and kind of like creep on what they have going on. I love when they have things in their stories because it helps me understand like what current offers are going on right now. Where would I fit in here? So I recommend having stuff in your stories. If I mean, if you're on Instagram and that's one of your main forms of marketing, you do not, I'm going to say this like very, very clearly here. You do not have to be everywhere all at once. When I first started my business, I dedicated, like, I was like, you get to choose two places to be. And one place needs to be where your short form content will live for marketing. The other place is going to be for long term or not long term, long form content. So I chose my podcast as the long form content and then Instagram as my short term place. And that's just where I've continuously showed up. Would I like to also be on Facebook? Would I like to also be on LinkedIn? Yeah, but I'm also realistic about my time and my energy. And like, I don't need to be everywhere all at once. And Instagram for me just made sense because a lot of my ideal clients are already there. So this flow is going to be kind of what you go through in the pre-sale process or in that phase. So the first thing we do is we call out the problem or belief getting in the way of results. And this doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be a novel. If you're sending an email, it doesn't have to be like 10 story slides. It can just be really succinct, really straight to the point, and really potent. And then after that, we call out why this is a problem or what it's causing. So that's the connection piece too. Like, I see you. I know what's happening here. I know how you feel. I get it. And then what needs to shift and why that needs to shift. So you're not telling them how you're going to help them shift yet. You're just saying, this is what needs to happen and here's why. And then at the end, you're just saying the name of the offer and the end transformation and making sure that you have a very solid CTA. Now, the CTA, sometimes I get asked, like, what is the best CTA? What is like it literally does not matter. You want them to do something. You're thinking about what the action is that you want them to do. Maybe it's like the post, and then from there you can go reach out and start conversations. Maybe it's send me a DM. Maybe it's go to my stories to learn more, or go somewhere, I don't know, website or YouTube or whatever, wherever you are, to learn more. Yeah, so just make sure, I always say like we got to talk to our audience like they're 5, because again, like be very, very clear about what you want them to do. Because if you don't know what you want them to do next, they're not going to know. That's going to be unclear to them. And we know that unclear people don't buy. Yeah, does that make sense? I think I kind of said that wrong, but you get what I'm saying. People that are confused don't buy. So we want to make it as seamless and easy for them to get any questions answered, to get in on the space. And so just asking yourself, and this was part of the pre-launch like power moves, is like, what do you want them to do? What's the progression that you want them to go through? So they land somewhere, they see this offer, they're like, yes, I need this. Do you want them getting on a call with you? Do you want them to be able to just click the link and buy it? Do you want them to fill out an application form? Like, just know really clearly what you want that process to be. And maybe you don't know, maybe you're like, I don't know what I want them to do. Just pick one and try it and see how it feels. And you can always tweak it as you go. That's always, always an option. Okay. So this is kind of the like outline, and then this next one is kind of like sentence frames, right? So you're not creating, doing, seeing X. So you just take it from the content template block. When it comes to, this is going to be the topic of your offer, because you're still, and then you put in there exactly what they're doing that's getting in the way. And then to call out why this is a problem and what it's causing, you can go into, when you know how to, XYZ is going to be something that you're teaching in your offer or something that you do in your offer, you'll be able to create, and here's the outcome. Again, for the outcome, you just go directly to the content block template and you go to either a short-term desire or a long-term desire, and you drop it in there. It's copy and paste. So this like is easy peasy when you have that content template block completed. And then we say something like, this is exactly why I created the offer to help you, whatever the outcome or the transformation is. You can see I'm not giving details. I'm not giving like the playbook. I'm not giving anything other than this is what you're going to get or have or be or do when you work out of when you leave this offer. And then call to action, DM me for details. You can have them DM you a specific emoji. You can have them a word. I know some of you guys in this space have the ManyChat set up. That's a cool thing to do. Like if they send you a certain word, it'll automatically send them the details or send them the question or send them the application or the link or whatever it is that you want them to send. Yeah, okay, so that's the pre-sale flow. And then I added a couple slides here. These are sentence starters for when you're in pre-sale. So if you're sitting down and you're like, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to post about, you can come right to these slides and literally just grab one of these and put in it's like a Mad Lib, like fill in the blank. So POV, you stop doing what you know they're doing that's getting in the way, and now what their desire is. The next one, it's not that you don't know what you know. Wait, it's not that you don't know, and then you put in what they need to know. You're just missing this one thing, and ideally, that thing is something you're teaching in your offer, or you're supporting them. Your offers aren't always going to be about teaching them something, unless it's a program like this one where they're walking away with a really specific skill set or a specific set of knowledge. Sometimes your offer is going to be like for one-to-one coaching, for example. Like you're not going to teach them anything inside one-to-one coaching, but you're going to tap into something that you know that they're missing, and something that you work on with them, whether that's mindset. And we don't use the word mindset, right? We're not going to be vague. We're going to be really, really clear around what it is that they really, really want. And the last one, wondering why you haven't blank yet. I bet I know why. And then you kind of go in and explain, here's what you're doing. Instead of doing that, you got to do this. This is why I created this offer. And there's a whole other page of more sentence starters for pre-sale. So I see you, whatever they're doing or thinking that you know isn't helping, try this instead. And again, you guys, I cannot stress this enough. When that content block template is completed and you've really spent a lot, like you put a lot of like thought and like legwork into that this becomes very, very easy. It looks like a lot and it looks difficult, but once you have the understanding of what it is that they really, really want, this becomes super, super simple. The next one is today is the last day you're going to blank whatever they're doing that you know isn't helping. Instead, you're going to, and then what you help them with inside the offer. And when I say like what you help them with, we're not spilling like everything. Like I'm not giving them like everything that they need to know. I'm giving them more of the framework, or like, this is why it's not helping you, and here's how you would change this. And then the last one is, would you believe me if I told you that the thing they're thinking or doing isn't actually helping your desire, you get to wherever you want to be? Here's what to do instead. This is a great one for the polarizing buyer too, because they've probably been told, if you think about the things, I should probably add this to the content block template, because this is a good prompt. If you think about all the things that they've probably been told to do up until this point, like it's either going to be really overwhelming for them, or like you have a different way of thinking about things. And that would be a really great spot to drop that in, to really speak to the polarized buyer. Okay, I'm going to take a drink. How are we doing? Are we all good so far?
I'm here. I'm just listening in, Sandy.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, okay, good, good, good. Yeah, we're just diving in. Sarah, too, later at some point, go back and listen to the first part of it too, because I kind of there's some stuff in the beginning that you want to catch too. But yeah, glad you're here. Okay, phase 2. If we go back to this little guy, phase 2. So now we're in pre-sale. Pre-sale is over. It lasted 2-ish, 3-ish days, somewhere in that little area. I've even done pre-sale where it only lasted 1 day. It was like a 24-hour thing. Do it, like mold it to your calendar and what works. But just make sure it should be a shorter amount of time again, because we're teaching our audience that you get in first, you get the best deal. So now we're gonna go into pre-sale here. Oh my gosh, you guys, I didn't even have the chat pulled up. Let me check the chat. Oh, yay, on a discovery call. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Okay. Here we go. Pre-sale. So pre-sale again is 2 days only, and we're going to continue to bring the most interested people forward. And in this phase, we're also going to continue with problem awareness. So really the only difference, there's a couple different, well, there's two differences. One difference is that the price is going to go up a little bit here. And the second difference is that we're just going to add on. So we're not going to tell too much again. We're just slowly like dripping out information here. We're not going to tell too much. We're going to say the name and the end transformation. And we're also going to add who it's for. And again, I put this right here, content block template. So if you've done the content block template, what you did at these top ones is you went and you grabbed 2 to 3 pain points and you literally just copy and pasted them in here from down here. So you just pick whichever ones you want, drop them in there. You also took 2 to 3 short and long-term desires and you just copy and pasted them right into there. When I say adding this is for you if, this is literally a copy and paste here. You're picking that up and copying it and pasting it into your messaging. Okay, so content block template, do that. All right. Okay, so let me give you some examples. And we're just adding who it's for. So this is for you if. That's like what I always use, or my mastermind is for you if, or this offer is for you if, and then getting really clear and really specific so the person knows, like, yes, this is for me. So here is an example from pre-sale, and you'll see that it's similar to okay, wait, this is pre-sale. It's similar to pre-sale. There's a couple differences. It's a different prompt that I took from the content block template. I said, you say you want to go online in your coaching business, but the way your calendar looks tells me you want to stay at your full-time job forever. So like calling them out, like this is still speaking to the polarized buyer. Then I said, running from your 9 to 5 right onto Zoom calls, exhausted by the end of the day with no time to actually grow your business to the point of being able to go full time. When you have when you have a solid signature offer in place that brings in long-term recurring revenue without back-to-back one-to-one calls, that's when you create space to grow your business so that you can go full time. And then I added the what is that? The name of the offer and then the transformation. And this is just the same. It's similar. It's the same thing that you saw in pre-sale. The only difference now is that I'm going to add these 2 slides. This is for you if, and I literally take like my favorite ones from the content block template and I drop it in. I just want to make sure that I have pain points and I have desires. Those are the 2 things that need to be inside. And this is for you if, because we're not qualifying people based on anything other than what they really, really want and where they're at. So there's room to be really specific inside. So like, for example, this one, you're an incredible coach, but if I were to look at your calendar, you spend most of your CEO time with one-to-one clients and on calls than moving your business forward. This is specifically for somebody that has already had clients. So she's not brand new in her business. So there's some specificity in there of her being able to distinguish, oh yeah, I haven't even started my business. I don't even have clients. This probably isn't for me. So I'm also disqualifying people when I do this, and that can be really, really helpful. So I'm adding those. And then again, same thing, add the bonus and I add the call to action. I have when it runs out, I've got the little timer there. I think those are always good to use to like get people to move. And then here's example number 2 of pre-sale. So I said, launching your first signature offer is scary, but never leaving your real job because you're always waiting on the next big client to sign with one-to-one packages, eating up the time you could be growing your business is terrifying. So I just proceeded to call out why that's a problem and what she should be doing instead without giving away too much. And then I kind of added a little thing here that like says like, it kind of shows like what people are saying about this offer so far. that kind of builds the hype up. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But this is exactly, again, this is the same thing, the same thing. It's just the name, the branding, and the transformation. And then again, here I added, this is for you if, so these are a little bit different. Oh, no, those are the same. Those are the exact same. So exact same thing that I posted the day before. Nobody has ever reached out to me to be like, why are you posting the same thing? Like, it just doesn't happen because people are not going to see it the first time. They might see it the second time. They might not see it the third. Like, we just don't know. And if they're seeing it more and more and more, that's a good thing to me. Because if you think about this, you know how like Facebook and Google, they like, I don't know how they know, but they know like what you're looking for, like it tracks that data. So then it keeps popping up for you. And you're like, oh, this is so annoying. But at some point, you kind of stop and go, why does this keep popping up? What is this? And you like look at it and you take that time to be like, oh, what is this? So it's okay if they're seeing things over and over. This is the bonus again. And here's the call to action. Okay. Here's your flow for pre-sale. So first we're going to call out the problem or the belief getting in the way. And this is the exact same as pre-sale. The only thing that we're adding to this one is who it's for right here. So again, more information dripping out. And on the content block template, I have two of these. So you can alternate between these two when you're using them to talk about them on social. If you feel like you're like, oh, I don't want to say the same exact thing like I did here, you can switch it up between the two. Okay. And I'll even show you, let me show you guys what I did here. So this is my Canva. I have these content blocks. This is for my mastermind. And this is just something you can do for any offer, or especially an evergreen offer or an ongoing offer that you're always selling, is I have these for my Instagram stories. Let's see if it'll load. That should say number 1. Come on. This computer goes so slow when I need it to like do something, like a move. Basically what I have here is these different blocks. It'd probably be easier to show you. Here we go. Woohoo. So you can see the blocks on the bottom. I have 1, 2, and 3. I just alternate between these when I'm posting about my mastermind in my stories. So it's not the same thing every single time. I just add little emojis to it, but you can see like on Monday, I might use this one. On Tuesday, I might use this one, and then these need to be fixed. But on Thursday, I might use these ones. So I'm alternating between them. For me, this is like such a good use of my time because I don't have to like type it out or recreate it every time. They're just there and it's easy for me to do that. So that's a little tip and trick. Now your flow, here's some sentence. You could take these and you could Mad Lib style, right? If I had to guess right now, you're feeling blank when it comes to blank. So again, you go to the content template, the doc template, and you just pull how she's feeling right now and the topic of your offer. Next slide. This is because you are, and then 2 to 3 things that they're doing that are getting in the way. You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. And then the next slide, when you know how to blank what you support them inside the offer, you're able to, here you go, 3 to 4 short and long-term desires. Just drop them in there. This is exactly why I created this offer that's going to help you with the end transformation. And then you put, this is for you if the content blocks, and this is for you, always include 2 to 3 pain points. And if it's 1, that's fine. If it's 4, that's fine. Just do whatever works for you. And then 2 to 3 specific short and long-term desires. So that's your flow. And then you have more sentence starters. These sentence starters, I'm not going to go through them all because they're basically the same as the pre-sale. So you're still talking to the polarized buyer. It's not until we get into early bird that we're speaking to the emotional buyer now. So when early bird starts, I think that's like day 6-ish, between day 4 and 6 of your launch. This is when we're going to begin to speak, and we're going to drip more information about the offer and tell a little bit more. We're going to speak to the emotional buyer. So this is early bird lasts for 5 to 7 days only. And what we do is we continue to reveal more details about the offer. Like I just said, we're going to speak to the emotional buyer. We're going to tell stories. We're going to show embodiment, like how we're living out what we're teaching them inside this offer. And we're sharing the name and transformation. We're sharing who it's for. And we're also going to start to drop in, what's included here. So we're just kind of adding on a little bit more each time. So here's an example. I said, picture this, and I love this prompt to use, like, because you're basically painting a picture, right? Picture this. One of your favorite one-to-one clients tells you she won't be re-signing with you for another round. You don't panic, you don't cry, you don't low-key freak out because you're not sure what you're going to do next about the income hole next month, because you're not reliant on your one-to-one clients to meet your monthly business income goals. Instead, your one-to-one clients are like the cherry on top of the cake, not the entire cake. So I'm painting a picture of what my business looks like now, because I have this thing that I'm teaching them in place. I did this before I had this in place. Now I don't do that anymore. Okay. And then we include, this is for you if, so there's those content blocks again. And then I also included, like, what did we say we're adding on? We're adding on what's included. So going into a little more detail about what's happening in the offer. So the difference between a group, these are kind of the things that I'm going to be going over, but it's not the whole shebang. It's just some of it. And that was what I added into this for early bird. If you're thinking, yes, 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 message me. I did put save here, so that's good. But wanting them to reach out. And then another example, I remember when. So you take yourself back to when you were in their shoes, right? And I said, I would see other coaches living these relaxing lives on Instagram, days that weren't jam-packed with back-to-back things and responsibilities. And I would legit wonder how they're making enough money in their coaching business to actually do that. Like to actually like go get a massage at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. Like, how do they not jam-pack their days and make more than enough money? And something I realized is they're giving their clients an amazing experiences and getting amazing results, but doing it in a way that doesn't sacrifice their time and energy. It's a signature program that's creating more space. And then I kind of explained it a little more. Again, I'm tapping into where she's at now and where the emotional side of where she wants to be. Here's the transformation and the branding. And again, who it's for. When you sign up, this is what you get. I included payment plans in there just to have people. I added a sticker, so that was easy for me. If anybody tapped the sticker, I could just reach out to them and say, hey, I saw you were interested in this. Let me know if you want more info or you want to chat about this and we can talk. Here's the DM, or not the DM, here's the call to action. With the emotional buyer too, in early bird, you really want to focus on tapping into like the emotional side, the storytelling. So this was one I said, Sundays hit differently when you're actually looking forward to a slow Monday morning where you get to work out, get your kids ready, take them to school, take the dog for a walk, then see your amazing mastermind clients to help them kick off the week and hit the ground running. This is something I know that she's not doing because she doesn't have this thing in place already that this offer helps. And this is something that I know that she really, really wants and really, really craves, but she doesn't know how to get there. Right? Sundays hit differently when you're not on client calls all day Sunday, because it's the only time to fit them in between working your real job during the week and take care of your family while also growing your coaching business. That hits because I remember taking calls on Sundays, like, I just did not like doing that. And I wanted so badly to not have to do that and to be able to do it during like the regular week. Sundays hit differently when you're not stressed about running all the errands and doing all the laundry and going grocery shopping on Sunday because there will be absolutely no time to do it tomorrow. Like, these are things, this is emotional content here. Like, it's tapping into what she really wants and something that she maybe thinks, well, how is that even possible? So then I go in and I tell her, like, when you have this is what you get to do. You get to grow your business, create new offers, spend Sundays with your family doing whatever you want to do. Here's the offer, here's the end transformation. I also started to add a little more information about the end or the date that it's starting. Here's your content blocks of who it's for. And then there's the call to action and the timer with the DM. I always try to like animate stuff too when you can, because sometimes these slides will get a little text heavy. So if you can like highlight different words or make things stand out so people aren't just scrolling through, I think that tends to help too. So your flow for early bird is going to be painting the picture of the outcomes. That's exactly what I did in these slides here. I'm like painting a very clear picture of what she wants and leading with that now. So I'm going to own what, or you can own what you now have and are living out because of the offer. And then how you got here, what you now know that you didn't know before. And again, we're just starting to drip out even more like what's included in what you're covering. So here's your flow for that too. This is like your Mad Lib type situation. Are you ready to blank? Let me show you how to create this by, and then telling them how you'll teach them inside the offer. And if you're thinking, yes, 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 you're in the right place. This is for you. If there's the content blocks, what you're covering, what's included, and then the solid CTA. And then I gave a bunch of sentence starters here. I'm not going to read through every single one. You can definitely go through and, read them on your own. But these I found help. And I was with a client the other day and she was like, oh, having sentence starters would be so helpful. And I'm like, yes, 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 they are. So you can just pick them up and tweak them to fit the offer and to tweak like for your client and your, the transformation in yours. So I'm not going to read all these to you because you can go through, but I do want to share a hot tip here for this emotional buyer phase and the early bird phase is don't be afraid to get personal and go deep and get really specific here because it's really truly what the emotional buyer needs and wants. And I know that sometimes that takes some vulnerability to like be like, this is where I was and this is how far I've come, but that's really what they appreciate and what they like. So if you're in a place to share and to go deep and to share like, this is where I was before, this is where I am now, and here's how I got here, that's really going to pull in this phase of your launch. That's really what's going to pull those people in and really build the know, like, and trust. Is there a document that has just the flow sentence starters? No, but I'm happy to get that for you. I can definitely put that together for you. I kind of
could create it off the slides. I just didn't know if you had it like already.
No, I don't. I can do that though. I can definitely do that. So we can just put it in a doc. It's just a matter of copying and pasting. So it'll be easy
Okay.
for me. Yeah. No worries. I got you. Okay, so then let's head into this last phase of your launch. This is regular pricing, and this is where usually people start to kind of peter out and it's like, oh, I'm getting tired of this. But we're going to now really speak to the analytical buyer here. So now we're going to, this is going to lead up to the start date of the official like launch. We're going to continue to reveal all the details. And by the end of this phase, they're going to know everything. They're going to know all the details. They're going to know everything they need to know. And in this phase, this is where we really pre-handle objections. We show behind the scenes and we give the whole playbook to what is happening. So here's some examples of this. And you can kind of see here, I won't go through this, but I kind of did the hook, not kind of, I used a hook, went in, I shared the branding and the transformation, and this is the new part. So what I'm going to be covering, this is like the how-to, the playbook, the what we're going to be doing, like how to make sure what you're building is scalable, the ins and outs to build and fill your signature program, how to create your signature framework, how to know what kind of program is right for you. I went over all of this in the program. So you can see now that analytical buyer is like, oh yeah, like this is what they need to hear. This type of stuff is what they need to hear. And then we have, again, same thing. There's the content blocks again. There's the call to action. This is also added as well. So it's it's telling them what's included now. It's going to be 7 live calls. It's lifetime access to the replay, access to the program when I run it again in the future. You get a Q&A session and you get all of the docs and all of the slide decks. So they know like, okay, I understand now what I'm getting. And here's another example of this process here too. I won't go through all of it just for time's sake, and you guys can go back and read it. But again, the things that I'm covering, just really speaking to any objections that they might have, any questions that I've gotten so far, I'm going to address them here. And yeah, it's just basically the same thing. It's literally the same thing. I'm just changing the background, changing the emojis, changing maybe the way that it looks a little bit, but it's all the same stuff. So your regular pricing flow is to break down the playbook, like the how to, like, here's exactly what we're going to do. One of my favorite ways to do this is to be like, if you came to me and said you wanted this, here's exactly what I would tell you. I'm pre-handling objections. I'm sharing behind the scenes of this offer. I maybe am showing like a boomerang of me creating slides. I'm still sharing the offer and the end transformation, who it's for, what I'm covering. And now I'm adding the details and the logistics, always with that solid CTA. So then there's here another like flow. And again, this does not have to be a story flow. This can be an email. It can be a podcast episode. It can be in a conversation. Whatever your main form of marketing is, this is how you can tweak this to make it work for you. So my client came to me and we described where she was, what she had in place, what she had already tried, where she was before. Now she's over here describing the results. This is giving that analytical buyer a view of like, oh, what's possible when they come in and how I do it. Because I'm going to explain then what I worked on and in what order and why it was in that order. And I'm also going to tap into how she showed up, how she leaned into the support, her mindset throughout the space to show that like this is what you can have when you come in like full force. Then same little thing. This is exactly what I'm going to do to support you inside this offer to get this transformation. This is for you if your content blocks, what you'll be covering, what's included, and solid CTA. And then you've got sentence starters here for regular pricing. So you can use these as hooks for your stories. You can use them as actual carousel posts inside your feed, emails again, whatever, however you do that in a Facebook post, however that looks for you. And I won't like read these all because I know we're running out of time here. And there's a couple other things that I want to make sure that I get to. So how are we feeling so far, Teddy? Are we good?
Yeah, it's great. Very helpful.
Is
Yeah.
anything?
No, I think you've been very clear. It's really, it's helpful to look at it this way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cause sometimes I'm like so in my head and I'm like, it makes sense to me, but I don't, maybe it doesn't make sense to other people. So
No, you're making sense.
okay, good. So at this point now in our launch, now the cart is open and we're ready to go. One thing you can do throughout the whole launch process is build hype. So we do this by like when people come in to the program or when people are signing up or when people are DMing to just take a little screenshot and share like, oh, like look at all these people, welcome. You can share screen, like this kind of builds like, I don't want to say FOMO because we don't want anybody to come in because of FOMO, but like it builds just excitement and like, ooh, like look at the people that are coming in. This is so exciting. I want it. I was thinking about doing that. You know, let me go, you know, get it. This was a fun one too. I did a free masterclass and that morning I just said, welcome to the party. And I put like the initials of everybody that had signed up. And then I put a little like, we saved you a spot, like a little blank one there. And then a link to like, come join you. They could still join at that point. So that was kind of fun, but just continuing to like build it up, to hype it up. If people are, you know, reaching out and asking you questions, you can even screenshot those questions and answer them in your story. So again, you're addressing objections. And then even after you guys, after you've launched, after the official start date, so the launch is technically like over, I always give myself a few days after it starts to a point of to where it would make sense if somebody still came in at this point, like it would still be okay. Like for this program, you guys might have seen me do this on, I don't remember what day I did this. But I said, just got done with day 3 of Launch Like a Boss. And then I kind of did a little like boomerang of the slides and kind of said what it was. And then I did a little video of the doc, and then I said something down here. I think you can't see it, but I said, if you're a last minute Lucy and you want to get in with this, hit the sticker and I'll get you the information. Because at that point, someone could still come in. I could get her the replays. I could get her all the things. She could still come in and it would be fine. So I'm giving myself a little bit of time to sell afterwards and to share all of the really great things that are happening inside the program as it runs, to keep getting people in, right? And then here was another thing that I did. This was for the master class that I did. And I wanted to, after the master class was over, I wanted to get people the replay if they weren't able to attend or if they hadn't have even signed up yet. So I took screenshots from the chat during that master class. And the second slide, I don't know why I didn't put it on here, but the second slide in this was like, if you still want access to the replay, just drop your email and I'll send it to you. So people were getting the replay even if they didn't sign up live. And I was just giving them a little bit more space to get in. And in that masterclass, I'm almost positive that I upsold to something. So then even if they just caught the replay, they would get that kind of messaging. And then here's another one. I said, call one of probably sold out signature offer was so good. And then I just kind of went on camera and like talked about how great it was. And then I said what I'm covering, and I put a little check mark next to the things that I'd gone over that day. And then I put like today, tomorrow, Wednesday, next week, this is what we're doing, speaking to the analytical buyer. And then I just took the same slide and I just clicked started today. And I said, it's not too late, come on in. So getting people in even after it is like your program has started. So the one other thing I wanted to do today before we wrap this up is launch emails. So if you have an email list, and I don't want anyone to think that like they need a big email list or a big following or a big anything to launch or to go through this process. You absolutely do not. And through this process, what you're going to essentially do is continue to build up your audience, like build your hot audience. So even if you have an audience of like 10 people and you go through this process, by the end of the process, you're going to have more people in your space simply because people are going to be like, what's going on? What's happening? So I just had a thought too. So launch emails. You don't have to have a huge email list. Even if you just have one person that is like on your email list, you want to kind of get into the cadence of sending out emails every time, emails when you're launching. Now, I like to go when I'm in an active launch. I am not the best at emailing. It's kind of the thing that always gets pushed to the back burner for me. Let me send this over to you. This is the doc for today. And I'll link. This is what it looks like. So you can see there's launch emails here. This was the sequence of emails that I go through. If we're thinking about 2-ish weeks, I'm sending out emails every other day-ish throughout the launch. I had, with this specific sequence of emails, I had a ton of, Teddy, will you do me a favor? Will you make a copy of that too? I forgot to like force the copy on it. But I had a really, really good success rate with the type of emails that are in here. And all of these emails, they speak to the different buyer types throughout. So all you would do on this document, they're just, their email template. These are the actual emails that I sent out when I was running this group program. You're welcome to take any of this. You're welcome to change it. You're welcome to like, however you want to do, tweak it. But I had a really, really great success with these emails, and people actually were reaching out to me because of these emails that I sent. And they're all aligned with the different buyer types. And if you just push one out every other day, I think that was a really great sequence, and it kept that launch going. Again, if you're a person that's like, okay, every other day sounds like too much to me, then do it every 3 days or every 4, like whatever works for you. But again, we left at the beginning of our launch process, we left this idea that like, I'm going to annoy people, or I don't want to annoy people, or I don't want to sell. We got rid of that. So like target sends me emails every day, right? Like they're not worried about selling or being annoying. They want to sell their product. And so, um, yeah, those you can take those, you can tweak them however you want. And then these are more hook ideas to help you out. And this was a this was a opt-in that I created. It's 31 hooks for coaches. It's all aligned to the different buyer types too. So you can take those, you can play with those too when you have those moments when you're like, I don't know what to post or I don't know what to talk about. Just remember I kind of outlined it here, which type of buyer type you're talking to throughout. And if not worst comes to worst, because nothing's going to be bad. There's no worst. But if you're just like, I'm so scattered, I don't even know, just pick one and go with it. And then the next time you post, just be like, okay, I talked to the polarizing buyer last time. Well, let me talk to this buyer this time. And just play with it. You'll find, I know for me, it's a lot easier for whatever reason for me to talk to the polarizing buyer than it is to talk to the analytical buyer. Like there's ones that you'll kind of just gravitate towards. To just make sure that there's some sort of balance in there. If that's like, but it really, the important part of launching is honestly just showing up and again, unapologetically selling your thing, talking about your offer and really owning how it helps your people. And that's the most important part. Okay, I'm going to take a breath. How are you feeling, Teddy? How are we doing?
Good. I think, yeah, I love how tangible everything is that you share. It really makes a difference because it's easier for me to tap into the tangible pieces of it. And having the content block done first seems to make it all like really simple after that. I think I need to, like you said, check the worrying that people that I'm annoying out the door because I do worry about that. And even like today, I said I was starting to sort of like pre-launch one-on-one coaching, and put out a set of slides yesterday, and this morning I like had to really convince myself to put them out again because you can see like the views and it was like really low yesterday.
Yeah.
Um and
No.
so but like putting it out again like irritates me. But
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah.
I totally understand. And I will say this too, like just so like I just want to normalize that.
Mhm.
And whenever I post like a random freaking something in my stories of like my dog or I don't know, just something like stupid, it gets so many likes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When I post things like when I post these sequences, my views are always way, way down compared to like the stupid stuff. And it's not stupid, it's just silly stuff, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Like, so I try to infuse all of that. I try to start the day off with like just something like a good morning or, oh, this is what I'm up to, or the dog or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And then head into the sequences and
Yeah.
put up. And as often as I can in those sequences, I'm adding like the sticker or the
Okay.
just something, the slider, the question
Yeah.
box, something to get people to engage. But I'm pretty sure across the board, like that's pretty normal. Like
Okay.
when
Yeah.
selling, I don't know, Instagram knows, right? Like
Yeah.
when I'm selling, I'm making money. Instagram's not making money. So it's not a priority to push out anything that I'm selling because Instagram gets nothing from that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So just it's all normal.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, what the heck? Like I'll have like one story get like, I don't know, like 100 views, and then the next one has like four. And it's like my mom and my sister. I'm like, what
Right.
is happening here? What's going on?
Right.
We don't make it mean anything. I'm not like spinning about it. I'm just like, well, all right,
Sure.
next. Like we just keep going.
Yeah.
And also I was gonna say too, if you haven't already, were you in I getting all my challenges? Were you in the Zero Cling Sales Challenge?
No, I
That's a good one. Yeah,
didn't know
you
you then. Yeah.
no, that's okay. It's all good. It was such a good challenge and it's a good one. You don't have to go do it like right now or listen to it, but it's almost like podcast style where you just pop it
Okay.
in. That whole challenge was about like leaving behind all of these weird things that we make ourselves
Mhm.
believe when we're selling, when we're launching,
Mhm.
when we're sharing about our offer. So if you're like ever just like, oh, I have some time, you could pop it in. It's a really
Okay.
got a lot of really good feedback
Cool. Thank you. Yeah.
with that part of it. So
Awesome.
it's real. It's real. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do on my list, I'm gonna create that doc. I'm just gonna copy and paste with all of those starters,
Awesome. Yeah.
libs. I'll get that
Yeah,
to
because
you.
I feel like that would be really nice to sort of do like the content block to make ahead of time and then just have.
I love that. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I should do that too. Like, why didn't I think of that? Okay, so I'll do that. I will get that to you. The slides will in the
No
replay
worries.
will come to you. If you have anything, our next call is going to be Q&A. So any questions you have, if you want to bring anything, I'm happy to like workshop stuff with you. If you want to brainstorm content, if you want to pull some of those, like if you want to pull the content doc, like can't talk content
That's okay.
doc, or if you want to pull some of the starters or your story slides, we can get in there and brainstorm and see how we can
Okay.
make it more powerful, more specific, like all of those things. I love doing that stuff. So
Awesome. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Yes, and I will see you. I think our next call is on Monday. So, but I'll talk to you guys in between that for sure. So
Sounds good. Thank you.
being here, Teddy. I love your
Yep.
energy. I just appreciate you so much. So,
Oh, thank you. Thank
okay,
you.
bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.